Hi, I'm State Senator Jamie Eldridge. It is the beginning of the legislative session for 2023-2024 here at the State House. And probably as a lot of people know, we have filed all of our bills for the session and just wanted the opportunity to highlight some of the areas that I think are going to be key to focus on this legislative session. So many things to tackle for the legislature. But wanted to focus on gun safety, transparency, climate, healthcare, and of course, criminal justice reform. On the gun safety front, as I am speaking today from the State House, was just informed earlier today that a large number of ATF agents are inspecting the so-called Littleton gun mill, so meeting with gun dealers to make sure that they're complying with federal and state laws. Really want to express my appreciation to the ATF for coming to Littleton, obviously to Littleton Police Chief Pennard. And, you know, we're covering really every week from a different mass shooting. And I know that just a couple weeks ago, there was a mass shooting in California. And I think it's important to remember that, of course, California arguably has among the strictest gun safety laws, similar to Massachusetts, and yet a massacre happened there. And so I think it's important to realize that we need to drill down to make sure that our gun safety laws are truly comprehensive, that gun dealers are being properly inspected, and that we're closing any loopholes that are necessary. So I am working with a number of legislators, including Representative David Linsky, on legislation that would call on the Attorney General to create a special unit that would actually support local police to investigate and inspect gun dealers, as well as a bill around ghost guns and making sure that parts of guns that are banned in Massachusetts are not allowed to be sold in Massachusetts either. I mentioned a couple other areas. One of them is transparency. Big focus on transparency, as always, at the beginning of the session. Always say that, you know, part of the way that I have gained the trust of my constituents is by being transparent and being upfront about where I stand on issues. And I think it's important for the legislature to be as well. So I have filed two pieces of legislation. One of them is the Sunlight Act that would actually make sure that the governor's office is subject to the public records law. I want to express my appreciation to Governor Healy for her indication of taking a different approach from previous governors. This is legislation that would obviously put that into law. Also have refiled the We the People bill around the issue of big money in politics. Really big issue. We saw that with the election last year, the impact of Citizens United and big money in politics. On the climate front, very proud of the session we had last session. Two major climate laws, but there's always more to be done. Very proud to work with 350 Mass on the Make Polluters Pay bill. This is part of a national movement that is based on the Superfund model to fine fossil fuel companies that are polluting our earth and to use that money for climate action. Refiling the Solar Rooftop Ready bill to make sure that all new buildings and homes are ready to put solar on top. And then I also wanted to highlight legislation that would make sure that we have enough revenue for climate action, both for climate and for housing. It's the HERO Act, the Housing Environment Revenue Opportunities Bill. On the healthcare front, you know that I'm continuing to fight to make healthcare a right. I'm hoping that we can learn our lessons from the pandemic, that we really need to make sure healthcare is right for every single Massachusetts resident. So proud to refile an act to establish Medicare for all in Massachusetts. But I'm also filing a bill that would make sure that around the issues of mental health, which I'm very proud for the leadership of Senate President Spilka, Senator Friedman, and Senator Sear on a very strong mental health law, specialty medications, making sure that people who are mentally ill that can benefit from new prescription drugs can access those specialty medications. And then on criminal justice reform, you know my passion around criminal justice reform. I am co-chairing once again the Criminal Justice Reform Caucus with Representative Mary Keefe. Continued focus on prison reform. I am truly hopeful With the new administration, we're going to see more investments in re-entry, improving conditions at prisons, and I hope to close more prisons across Massachusetts, as well as to address issues around MCA Framingham. And then in terms of legislation, I really think this is the session to pass juvenile justice reform. There's bills such as raise the age. There's legislation about how do we interact with juveniles that have had past offenses, and how do we make sure that restorative justice is accessible to all young people, including in our schools. So those are some of the areas that I'm very excited about. There's many more to tackle, but excited at the beginning of the session, and I look forward to your feedback and comment. Please look at my website, senatoreldridge.com, for more information on these bills and so many others. Thanks.